So we were in Arlington with two small children and a pregnant wife, and then I hear her say, like, "Help me, I'm bleeding."
I initially woke up and thought, how did I sleep through? I went to the restroom, and I didn't know because I woke up and felt just warmth. And Mark just stood there with his hands over his mouth, looking at me like I'm losing my wife and my baby right in front of my eyes.
I'm just like kind of in a daze because what I saw in that bathtub after like they got her out, there was no scenario that he was still alive. And we'd ride the short drive to Medical Center Arlington to get her in, and they start prepping her for a C-section.
It was just tons of doctors. As soon as we walked in the door, doctors and nurses and people coming in and putting IVs in.
The doctor's like, you got 90% chance of major neurological defect, 60% chance of death. I mean, there's like all these things, and they put like her birthday in front of me and asked me to confirm my wife's birthday, and I was just like, I have no idea. I was just like, I could not even think.
So I felt like in that moment, all we were getting was this kind of negative. And the only thing that was really positive about that whole scenario is that I could feel Hunter. I could feel him moving in my body. And it was like he was saying, it's gonna be okay.
And like I hear a heartbeat, and this is like 3 in the morning now. This is like after all the craziness. And I was like, what is that? Whose heartbeat is that? Because I've been thinking that he was gone for like the last 2 hours. And the nurse and Jen kind of looked over at me and were like, it's Hunter's heartbeat, what do you? And I was like, stupid. I was like, he was like reborn, like,
almost to the operating room doors, and Dr. Kingsley said, I just want to check one more time.
And the doctor, George Kingsley, was like, let's just wait an hour and let's see what happens, because the bleeding is slowing just a little bit. And we waited an hour for the next 82 days.
And during that time, we were so consistently blessed with our community, people that we have surrounded ourselves intentionally, and then sometimes people who just reached out to us because they heard our story. I got so many care packages and cards when I was in the hospital. I probably wrote between 400 and 500 thank you notes.
I think one of the reasons that we made it that far was that Jen felt safe and loved and cared for, and like her stress level was like really low.
We couldn't think how would we repay people. So probably not until a few years later. I mean, I really didn't have a clear picture of what that would look like. It just kind of happened. A friend of mine and I decided to start a funny Facebook group called World's Okayest Mom. She added some of her friends and I added some of my good friends, and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew and it grew.
So we started doing these t-shirts. We would do like once a month, these t-shirt sales.
And I thought back to being in the hospital and back to all the support that we got. And I said, I'll do shirts on one condition. Whatever we make, we create care packages for moms who are hurting, moms who have lost a child, moms who have babies in the NICU, moms who are on bed rest. And Mark and Danessa were like, that's a great idea, let's do that.
We've talked about, we've had friends who had kids die. And we would love to just like talk to those families and say, don't even open the invoices, or it doesn't matter what the funeral costs, so you just send them all to us and we will cut checks, and don't even think about it. Like things like that, I think if we're on a kind of a larger scale.
But we live in this society of having to achieve perfection all the time. Being a mom is hard, it's hard work, kids are goofy, moms are goofy, but we saw really quickly that World's Okayest Mom was fun. It was something new that people weren't experiencing in a social media network, just being a good support group away from this search for perfection, I guess. And we really embrace that life doesn't have to be perfect to be wonderful.
Everybody has dark stuff they go through, and so the whole mission of this is to like be a source of light in those dark times.
We've had lots of shirt sales and we've done lots of care packages. Mark, blood, sweat, and tears applied for our nonprofit status. The best way for us to help moms is to have people who support us monthly. Maybe that's a $20 donation, and we consider that a Wonder Wom, so $20 a month, every month.
We obviously will do more than $20 a month. You can do $1 million a month if you're a millionaire.
We don't feel like we're doing as big of things as we want to do, even though I think we're doing important things. We want to go bigger, right? Go big or go home. We're not going home.
My husband was in Walmart one day while I was still in the hospital, and this lady comes up to him and she says, "Is your wife the one in the hospital with heart problems?" And he's like, "Yeah, why?" And she said, "Well, I recognized your baby. She's in a mom group with me, and I just wanted to let you know that I've been praying for her and thinking about you all." So just those kinds of things. There's just this huge network of women all over, and you don't even necessarily know who they are, but they're behind you holding you up.
One day we walked out to the mailbox at my mother-in-law's house where we were living, kind of impromptu, where our kids were in school and I was in and out of the hospital. And there was a package from Jen Rogers and from Halen, her daughter, and it was addressed to me, but it was also addressed to our whole family. It provided a lot of joy and just let us know that even though we were far away, we were not far from the thoughts and prayers of all of the people at home who were praying for us and who were still there for us. So we became monthly sponsors and became Wonder Woms, and there were so many people that had kept us afloat, either emotionally or financially or physically, actually just making sure that our kids got to and from where they needed to go, that doing something as small as having money withheld every month was such an easy way to give back. Being able to be on the giving side is way more of a blessing than being on the receiving end.
WOM is so much more than a name or a non-profit. We're full of love. And for me, that's the big thing. I'm grateful for that, because I think that if Jen had not created World's Okayest Mom, if she had not had that vision and had the faith to say, you know what, we are going to turn this into a nonprofit and we're going to make it great, I honestly don't think that I could have gotten through the absolute worst time of my life. We are who we say we are. We love each other. That we do.